Hi everybody, Ian Bremmer here in London, England, if that's not completely obvious. Staying a little clear of the horses because, you know, you're not supposed to touch them or get close. It is Israel, Hamas, that's the big story, and recent attacks on Qatar, major ally of the United States. Those strikes taking place, doesn't look like they were successful in taking out Hamas's political leadership, but certainly a great willingness to do it, which would have been, it for the ceasefire talks, which weren't going anywhere quickly anyway. Agitating President Trump pretty significantly, right? I mean, he's no fan of Hamas, but he absolutely did not want those strikes on Qatar, and that is upsetting the U.S. with one of its more important allies in the world. I mean, the Gulf states are the countries that Trump has on speed dial. That's true with Qatar too, where the U.S. has its largest base on the ground. And yet the Israeli Prime Minister is taking action directly and asking permission/forgiveness later on. The United States is not going to break from Israel. Most recently, the U.S. refused to provide any visas for Palestinians from the Palestinian Authority that wanted to come to the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Why? Because they weren't following through on peace commitments, according to the Americans. That is where we're seeing the U.S. is not supporting a two-state solution, as the UK is, as the Europeans are moving closer to recognizing a Palestinian state unilaterally, like most of the global South. The United States is moving in the other direction, moving to support what will eventually likely be Israeli annexations of parts of the West Bank, a larger scale war on the ground in Gaza City, and displacement of far more Palestinians. Near term, Israel has shifted with their escalation dominance, with their military dominance in the region, from deterrence to threat removal. That is what Israel is doing, whether it's in Yemen with the Houthis or the Yemeni government, civilian government, or whether it's talking about Hezbollah, whether it's talking about Iran directly. Longer term, the Israeli brand has deteriorated a lot, and senior Israeli officials are well aware of this. They've done the work, they've done the studies. They know that there is a lot of mistrust, and there's growing opposition, that even among United States, young people far more sympathetic to the Palestinians today than they are to Israel. 5 years ago, absolutely wouldn't have said that. So the big question is whether the law of the jungle, where Israel can do whatever it wants militarily in the region, ends up hurting them. The first big pushback we've seen has been from the United Arab Emirates. Remember, Trump's signature political success in his first term was the Abraham Accords. Irrespective of lack of Israel-Palestinian peace and breakthrough, you had countries in the region that were willing to open diplomatic relations directly with Israel. You now have the UAE, a close ally of the United States, saying that if Israel proceeds with annexations of Palestinian territory, that they will withdraw unilaterally from those Abraham Accords. That would be a big slap to President Trump directly. And whether or not that circle can be squared, is there a compromise? Is there an ability to still achieve a ceasefire without a two-state solution? That's the open question. But the red lines for Arab allies of the United States are getting closer and closer. That's true for the UAE, it's true for Qatar, and certainly no one's asking about whether the Saudis joining the Abraham Accords is happening anytime soon. A year ago, that was all the rage, even when the war in Gaza was still going on. So that's it for me. Hope everyone's doing real well.